All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
Hey, man, gotta vote. Gotta vote. You gotta vote today in Virginia. If you are in the state of Virginia, VA for short, you gotta vote. You can't talk about voting. Well, you can talk about voting, spread 10, 10, and 10, but you can't talk about voting in lieu of voting. You actually have to vote. You have to vote. They are trying to wipe out the Republican Party in Virginia with a gerrymander that is beyond ridiculous. Yes, both parties gerrymander. I get it. I've said that 1,000 times. Liberals, you can STFU. I get it. I get it. This gerrymander in Virginia, in a state that's 55, 45, maybe Democrat, Republican, you want to wipe out basically the entire Republican congressional delegation besides one district? No. Folks, you got to vote. I have been all over this story. You got to vote. I got more coming up on that later. I've got a couple other things too. I'm going to talk about this right at the beginning of the show. And I'm going to talk about it at the beginning of the show because I'm going to tell you why I'm not talking about this story. I got a couple of emails and tweets. I try to read as much of stuff as I can. And a couple of folks, even some of the team here, are asking me, hey, why aren't we talking about this missing scientist story? I'll tell you why. Folks, until I have more information, I live by the Dan Bongino adage here. Sorry about the third person reference, but I don't want to be first on a story. I just want to be right. I'm not telling you there's nothing there. We just level set the missing 11 scientists. I want to be crystal clear. I'm not telling you there's nothing there. I'm simply telling you that I am not going to do Podcastistan and jump to level 100 when we're not even at level 10. Like, we haven't had any connection between these 11 odd cases, and odd things happen a lot. So when evidence exists that there's some larger connection, I will put it out on the show. Some people don't like that. They want me to talk about it and, hey, you were over at the FBI. Yeah, if I had information that there was a connection, I would get it out to you. There's an ongoing look at this. We'll see. But folks, things are correlated that are not causal all the time. It doesn't mean it's not a cause behind this. I'm just telling you, we don't have that yet. You know, Johnny Joey Jones, excellent commentator on Fox, real hero, lost his legs as an EOD tech in the Marine Corps, great guy. He said it best the other day, hat tip to him. He said, I'm going to hold on this story, I'm going to hold on this story till some evidence of a connection exists. Because just because things are correlated doesn't mean they are necessarily causal. He said ice cream consumption and shark attacks both go up at the same time. Does that mean if you eat ice cream, you're more likely to be attacked by a shark? No, it means more people go in the ocean in the summer and eat ice cream because it's freaking hot. Correlation is not causation. That's why I'm not jumping to conclusions. That upsets some people. Some people want to go to listen to Podcastistan where everything's a conspiracy theory every day. I'm not doing that. I did not make that up, by the way. I wish I could credit who did it, but I did not make it up. Justin likes it anyway. There it is. It's its own separate, it looks like continent. So that's amazing, Podcastistan. And one final thing, too, before we start, that this is just the beginning of the show. I promise you this. Look at me. Everybody zooming in. Fokker, that's an O. The hit on Cash Patel, the bullshit hit by the Atlantic, which I addressed yesterday, is going to make a lot more sense in the coming weeks and months. I can't give you a definitive timeline. I'm on the outside now. However, I can tell you what I know is going on because I started a lot of it. It's going to make a lot more sense real soon as to why the left-wing media and the Democrats want Cash Patel out. I promise. Look at me. Look me in the eye. Wow. Whoa. What the hell was that? You guys scared me with the close-up, even me. Look me in the eye, and I'm telling you, I promise this thing is going to make a whole lot of sense. You're going to find out, as they say in the South, right quick, about why they need him out like now. It's got nothing to do with that story being even remotely true. Remember this. Bookmark it. Flags in the chat. Flags in the chat. Flag it up. Flag it up, kids. And when the nothing that's supposed to be happening actually happens and the nothing is happening, doomers have to change their story for the umpteenth time, again, it'll make a world of sense why the doomers are in bed with the left-wing media trying to get rid of cash. The black pillars. You'll start to see it. Because they don't want Donald Trump to succeed. The doomers, the black pillars, and the liberal media. I'm waiting for Guy to tell me, hey, Dan, did you lose some weight? Right? Tell me you're not thinking that. Guy is back. He still hasn't slept in like 3 days. He's an international traveler now. How did I lose weight? And I did. Lean right here. I did. I love this stuff. Listen, Brickhouse Nutrition been with me for a long time. So chatting with Miles, I'm up at like 235. True story. I never minded being 235, but you know what minded? My knees that were falling apart and my back. I'm like, I don't know what, before I started really lifting, probably about 190. So 235 was a lot. I said, I got to lose some LBs, Miles. He said, Dan, we're going to sick our team of docs and researchers on it, and we're going to get you a really good product because I don't want to take a lot of these needles and stuff. You know what he did? He got lean. He got lean. I got lean using lean, LEAN. The product works. Me and Paula both use it. I'm now down about 200, 202. Losing weight's a pain. I've been there. You look in the mirror, you're getting a little gooey as you get older. No good. Brickhouse Nutrition is one of the best products out there. It works like most of these GLP-1s. Most of those weight loss injections. They help control blood sugar and curb appetite so you eat less. There's really no mystery to how they work. But that's what lean was created to do without the needles, but it replicates the benefits of these injections. Lean supports healthy blood sugar, helps reduce spikes and cravings. It drives snacking and cravings. I'm telling you, I can vouch for it. I use it myself. Get healthier, lose those unnecessary pounds, right? Lean goes a step further. Helps your body burn fat, turn it into energy instead of storing it. No prescriptions, no needles. You've been thinking about losing weight? Let's go. No more wasted time. Try it today. Just give it a shot. I'm not confident it's going to work for you. Go to brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Use promo code Dan, my first name, for 20% off. Paula just bought some of this last night. Brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Promo code Dan. Pick up your bottle of lean today. Give it a shot. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. It's not a substitute or alternative for care from a healthcare provider. Thank you, Brickhouse Nutrition. Give lean a shot. Ding, ding. Remember what I said about that cash story. You'll thank me later for it. You'll see what I mean. And you'll see how this is all coordinated with the doomers, the pillars, and the liberal media, and the Dems. Okay, moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, oh yeah, you're going to get politics good and hard if we lose the midterms, and you're going to get it even worse if we lose this Virginia thing. Because if we lose the Virginia referendum and they wipe out the Republican congressional delegation from Virginia, it's going to be very difficult in the midterms to hold on to the House of Representatives. And if we lose the House of Representatives and we lose the Senate in November, what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to let the Democrats, how about this? You think it's a better approach, guys? Instead of me telling you, so liberal media people and doomers go, oh, that's just Bongino, it's hyperbolic. He's just saying this stuff is going to happen. The Democrats are going to do really awful, evil, mean stuff to us. How about this? How about I pick a couple of media figures and I let the Democrats also tell you what they're going to do to you in November, okay? You're going to get an impeachment of Donald Trump. You're going to get a packing of the Supreme Court. Your taxes are going to go through the roof. You're going to get a wealth tax. You're going to lose your property rights. Censorship's going to be back. I wouldn't be surprised if COVID vaccine mandates come back. All of it. Everything is open season again, okay? Here's Kyle Smith in a tweet, you know, not known as a particular like flame-throwing, bomb-throwing guy. He's warning everyone, too, about this, that there's a significant chance that the next time the Democrats are in charge, with even 51 Senate seats, that they implement a, quote, breathtaking power grab of the kind that would have made FDR blanch. FDR was a Democrat president for the Franklin Delano Roosevelt. There's some liberals watching. I'm sorry. They may not know what that means. They may think it's a drive up in New York. It is, but it's named after someone. That happened to me one time. I lived in Queens. Someone asked me a question last night about signers of the Declaration of Independence. I was talking about Francis Lewis, and a couple of people in Queens and I had no idea who he was. Folks, it's coming. It's going to make the 2020 to 2024 Biden presidency, which I could make a case to you was as bad, potentially worse than the Obama years. I know that's saying a lot. The thing is, Obama was a better politician than Biden. I mean, the things he did was evil. The things he did were evil, the whole DEI push, just the weaponization of government. The thing about that was Biden was just too dumb to just stop this out of control weaponization, even when the politics forced him out of the race. Obama at least tried to be more tactical while deliberately destroying the country. So I don't know who's worse. You can argue it out in the chat. I really don't. Was it Obama or Biden? Factor out the years that Obama was in charge for twice as long. I'm not sure who was worse. I'm just telling you, if we lose the November elections, what's coming is going to make that look like a picnic. It really is. The Democrats have just thrown caution to the wind and are going for it. Now, listen, you doubt me? Fine. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Doubt is healthy. We bring receipts on this show. Yesterday, we hinted at this. Here's the actual audio of James Carville, a respected, not on our side, but on the left. The guy's a lunatic. A respected on the left Democrat consultant advising the Democrats if they win in November to just, quote, they can eat our dust and just go for it. But I want you to listen to the things he's talking about going for. This is insanity. Check this out.
The Democrats win the presidency in both houses of Congress. I think on day one, they should make Puerto Rico, D.C. a state, and they should expand the Supreme Court to 13. Fuck it, eat our dust. They've done everything they could. They held up the 2000 election. They stole it. They've stolen Supreme Court seats. They've gerrymandered everything that you can. And the only way to fight this is don't run on it. Don't talk about it. Just do it. She said, okay, we got 54 senators and we got 13 court members. Thank you. Goodbye. Because you're not going to get a fast shake any kind of way in this system. 18% of the United States elects 52 senators. Well, you're not going to make it equitable, but you'll make it better by adding Puerto Rico and D.C.
Add Puerto Rico and D.C., we never get the Senate back. We would lose the House if we lose Virginia. Maybe. We could still pull it off, but it would be difficult. Also, they'll pack the courts to make sure that you can't sue to stop any of this stuff because the liberal Supreme Court would be packed with more liberals. They're talking about adding potentially 4 more seats to the Supreme Court. They're just talking about it openly. Don't take my word for it. If you're a liberal lunatic, one of these people who watches our show, like these Media Matters, a-holes who, one day thought they were relevant, but I used to call them media doesn't matter because their media doesn't matter. They watch the show every day. Please cite this segment and just make sure you quote the fact that it's not me saying it. It's the Democrats' own advisors, senior guys like Carville saying, hey, man, just go for it. Just burn the country to the ground. And let me add some color to this. You ready? Let's put some muscle on the bone. They are going to frame it in one of the most repugnant acts of gaslighting you're ever going to see. They're going to frame this destruction of our country, adding Senate seats, packing the Supreme Court, wealth taxes, censorship. They're going to frame it as a battle for the future of democracy. Again, how do I know that? Because they're already doing it. Don't take my word for it. Here's Kamala Harris, the cackler. She's back on the scene. She's clearly running for president, okay? Can we just get that out of the way? The presidential 2028 race, folks, has already started. We're not through the midterms. It doesn't matter if we're through the midterms. He says, I hope she, yes, so we all hope. However, she is running. The presidential race has started whether you like it or not. We don't get to decide. The candidates do. She is running. Listen to the framing as she starts to reintroduce herself back to the political scene. They're going to frame this attack on democracy as a fight for democracy in a message inversion like you've never seen before. Check this out.
We are dealing with the most corrupt, callous, and incompetent presidential administration in the history of the United States. Period.
Period, folks. This is a fight. They don't mention the fact that Donald Trump has cleaned up the corruption, reduced the federal workforce, held public officials accountable, ongoing investigations into Arctic frost and elsewhere, grand jury down in Florida. They don't mention any of that. They're going to invert this entire message. You know, I'm going to go to that second Kamala video in a second. Can you go to Cory Booker first, though? I want to show you here. Cory Booker, who's noted for screaming and yelling all the time. He tries to take on this, kind of preacher-like tone. Again, like he's some savior of the republic. Here again, framing this as some kind of fight for democracy as they kick democracy square in the nuts. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a storm in our nation. There is darkness and wind. People are getting hurt. What we need is not from on high. We need foot soldiers of our democracy who in times of trial are willing to stand up. Will you stand for our democracy?
You hear it? Did you get it? Foot soldiers for democracy, folks. Now, it's fairly obvious this is the group that weaponized government, attacked democracy, and diminished the republic so much so that Donald Trump and his administration have had to engage in this cleanup job that still isn't even close to done. Listen to me, please. Come on. I'm like really begging you right now. Virginia today is a test. The midterms are going to be a test. Folks, I get it. Listen, I'm just a dad and a guy. I don't have like superpowers or anything like that. I don't pretend to be better than anyone else. I'm just a guy. My father I love my dad. He was a plumber. My mom worked in a supermarket. I wasn't born with money or, wasn't born to two Olympians who have PhDs. I was born to working class Americans who really care about the country. I'm not messing with you now. I don't like opening up the show with doom and gloom segments because I'm not a doomer, and I smile when I talk about liberty because it's worth talking about this country with a big ear-to-ear smile on. I'm telling you, however, we got to fight ahead. And when you look back at what our forefathers and our grandfathers and the founders of this country did and what they went through, whether it was the signers of the Declaration of Independence who knew there was a probably better than 50% chance they'd be hung if they didn't win an unwinnable war that we won against the British Empire, and you look at the fights we have now, you should talk about liberty with a smile because these fights are easy compared to what they went through. Look at who we're dealing with. We're dealing with a bunch of clowns. Cory Booker is a loser. He is an absolute zero. The guy went from one of these pseudo school choice advocates in a city who was struggling and then flipped the script the second he decided he was going to run for president. And then you got the cackler who's back. Kamala too. Here's it, the voice change. You know all the voice changes she does and the voice manipulation she does depending on the crowd? This is who's going to be, this was their nominee in 2024 who wants to get back on the scene in 2028. Here she goes. Here's Kamala 2, so we'll refer to her now. Here she is back on the stage. Kamala and different, there's like Kamala 1 through 10. Here's Kamala 2. Notice how the voice changes in this speech. Check this out.
I think it's okay for us to be a bit transactional too. And to say, I'm gonna get mine also. And so don't count on me to be a voter and be the backbone of the Democratic Party, because it is my value system and my ethics and my sense of civic duty and responsibility so that you look at me and say, oh, they're gonna vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, people hate inauthenticity, non-genuine, fake, phony, fraud behavior. They hate it. They hate it everywhere. I can think of a baseball player back in the day who was paid very well to pay for the Yankees. People couldn't stand him because they thought, even some Yankee fans, because they thought he was a fraud. People hate this stuff. I'm going to get she talks completely different. She reinvents herself in front of every crowd. Meanwhile, for as much as people can't stand Donald Trump and his discursive, very aggressive speaking style, guys, is he any different? I promise you, he's no different. He's talking to the Pope. He's talking to a civic group. He's in the Bronx or he's in Tuscaloosa, and he talks the exact same way every single time. And who are we running against? You probably saw this morning, but here's Democrat Senator Chris Murphy. This is not a fake tweet, by the way. Aggressively cheering on what he thinks is an Iranian victory in the Strait that's fake news. He quote tweets this. Ali Vaez puts out at least 26 Iranian shadow fleet vessels bypassed the U.S. blockade. There's no evidence that's actually true. Christopher Murphy, who is a Democrat United States Senator, tweets, this is not a joke. Awesome. Now, why would that surprise you? Folks, this is what's coming. We lose to these people, pack Supreme Court, packing the House of Representatives, packing the United States Senate, weaponization of government, censorship, wealth taxes. It's all back. Business getting crushed. It is, I'm telling you right now, this is the fight of our lives. You said that last night because it's true. Here's Chris Murphy in 2022, same guy, arguing about how listing the IRGC, the Iranian Terror Death Squad, on the FTO designation list, foreign terror organization thing, that, yeah, we should consider taking them off because there's not much of an advantage to it. Christopher Murphy could have asked me and others the benefits of an FTO designation, like being able to take assets and other things like that when they're designated a terror group, but he's too stupid, or he hates the United States so much he really wants to see the Iranians win. Short clip, check it out.
Would you take the Iran's Revolutionary Guard off the terror list in order to get a deal?
Yes. I mean, the practical impact of designating them as a foreign terrorist organization is inconsequential. We have dozens of other terrorist designations on the IRGC that would remain.
I got an idea, Chris Murphy. Please stop being a dipshit. Here's an idea for you. Instead of calling for Patel to resign because you're afraid of what's coming, I know what's going on, Chris. Okay, maybe you should go over there, get a briefing at FBI headquarters about what, in fact, an FTO, foreign terror organization listing, actually does. It's inconsequential? Please explain that to your constituents. Speak slowly for the slow ones, okay? And then if you would, we'll send one of the FBI CT counterterror people over there to explain what an FTO designation does to make you look like a buffoon in front of your peeps. Folks, it's coming. We got the fight of our lives on our hands. Fight it with a smile. Be happy, warriors. It's a great country you're saving. But make no mistake, we got a real fight on our hands. It starts today in Virginia. I want you to watch the framing of this because I told you this. This is going to matter. Both the Virginia election today on the referendum, because they want to pack the House of Representatives, the Democrats, using Virginia. They are going to frame this as a fight for democracy, ironically, against what they call the anti-democratic Trump administration, who you've never seen a more democratic representative in the White House than Trump. He does more pressers than anyone. He's returning people's money, no tax on tips, tax refunds. What kind of a tyrant and fascist takes less people's money and gives it back to them? Money's control, money's power. What kind of fascist deregulates the government and takes power away from government? I'll never forget being told by a very brilliant politician before he died in Maryland that, ladies and gentlemen, government grows and regulations always grow. Why? Because there's no power in yes, he told me. You tell people yes, they don't need to come to you to kiss their ass to get away from a no to a yes. So they have to give you money and lobby you. Donald Trump does the opposite. He says, yes, we're going to deregulate. Yes, Ibogaine. Yes, all these others. We're not going to make us the middleman anymore. What kind of fascist monarch is that? Gives you back more of your money and more of your power? If this guy's a fascist, he's the worst one ever. They are going to frame this as a fight for democracy. I want you to watch the rather grotesque Eric Holder, an embarrassment to the Justice Department when he was there. The mess we had to clean up from him and Derek Farland and others was just disgusting when we were there. Here's Eric Holder talking about the referendum in Virginia today. I want you to watch the framing. Listen, it's about 30 seconds, but it's worth every second of this. This is how they're going to do it. When the GOP gerrymanders, they're, quote, stealing seats. When the Democrats engage in gerrymandering on Diana Ball, far worse than the GOP's done, they're just doing something to make the system fair. Listen to the framing right here. And amazingly, like, the hosts keep falling for this willingly. Check this out.
Historically, the president's party doesn't usually do well in the midterm races. So why do Democrats need to do this? I mean, it sounds like it's acknowledging that the Democratic Party can't win on its own, that it has to go through these measures.
The Democrats can certainly win if it's a fair fight. And the question I have...
It wasn't going to be a fair fight in Virginia?
No, it wasn't going to be a fair fight nationally if you try to steal seats in Texas, in North Carolina, and in Missouri. And so the question I have for people who are critical of that which we're doing is, what were we supposed to do? Nothing? Just allow them to try to stack the deck, to try to steal seats? And all we're trying to do is meet them and try to make the system as fair as it possibly can be. And that's all that this is about.
So notice. Maybe we didn't notice. That's the thing. All right, well, how about notice this? When the Republican states gerrymander their states, which does happen, it's stealing seats. When Virginia does it and takes it to the next level with the most grotesque gerrymander in the country. I saw something this morning. The majority of the Virginia delegation are going to be located within a radius of 15 miles in Northern Virginia for the entire state. The entire state. You're supposed to have representatives that represent your interests. Have you ever been to Virginia? You think Northern Virginia resembles Western Virginia and Southern Virginia? Have you ever been there? You're not even going to be able to find your representative. They're all in Northern Virginia, clustered with all the Democrats. It's stealing seats when the GOP does it. At least be honest and say, well, we're stealing seats too. We're stealing back. I don't agree with it. However, I'd respect you more. I have zero respect for this guy. Here's Tim Kaine, this goofball, another Democrat senator from Virginia. Here's Tim Kaine giving the worst possible answer I've ever heard to this. He's asked a legitimate question, like, hey, I get it, gerrymanders are gerrymanders, but they should be at least remotely representative of the breakdown of the state. And your state's a little bit Democrat, but, roughly 50-50. You want to hear an answer? This is possibly the worst one I think I've heard in eons. He just gave it. Check this out.
About the last vote there in Virginia, the presidential vote, Vice President Kamala Harris won by about 5 percentage points. So the state is relatively split with a left lean, but 90% of House members from Virginia being from one party?
90% of Virginians are not Democrats. That's true.
Correct.
But about 100% of Virginians want election results to be respected. We're deeply worried that Donald Trump will try to interfere with the election results this November or in 2028, because we saw him do it before. And we have to have a Congress that will stand up to it. In 2021, all 5 Republicans in Virginia went along with Donald Trump in his effort to overturn election results. And so we're giving Virginians a chance to vote, which Republican states have not done, about whether they want to have a congressional delegation that will stand up against Donald Trump's tyranny.
Folks, do you have any idea how many times that guy rehearsed that answer with some PR flack? So you're trying to take a 50, little bit over 50 plus Democrat, Republican lean state and turn it into a 90% Democrat state. Well, we got to do it because we got to fight back against Donald Trump. Just admit you're a clown and a joker and you're trying to steal seats back. Listen to what happens here, okay? Here's what's going to happen. We lose the referendum in Virginia. We still have the courts, okay? If we lose in the courts, we're in a little bit of trouble. Here's what I see happening. We could then lose the House, and we have a big uphill climb if we lose in Virginia tomorrow, or you have a big uphill climb losing the House. We could. We could lose the Senate. That could happen. The Dems then get in charge. The Dems then make Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. a state, giving them 54 United States senators. They then change the filibuster rules. Folks, you then see national referendums on election, mandating mass mail-in balloting. I told you all the cascade of horribles. They use it to take over. They pack the courts, so we have no release valve for any of this. We have a shot. There's no need to be a doomer. We still have President Trump's voice. You can get out today and vote no. And we still have the midterms, but you have to get out. So was it Jackie was doing the makeup this morning, and Jackie's like, hey, I was listening to another podcast, and they cited the Dan Bongino 10-10-10 rule. Good. We have elections coming up. You have now until November to email, call, and make 10 social media posts about the election, how people can go and vote. Voting is an action. You have to go do it. You can't just talk about it. The do matters. Talk is cheap if it doesn't motivate to do. You got to do. Folks, I worry because if we lose the House and the Senate in November, in addition to the cascade and parade of horribles I just told you about, there is absolutely zero doubt President Trump will be impeached again. And we're going to be dealing with that when we could have had 2 years more of solid, good administrative work under our belt. Not only him, every single day is going to be a new investigation with these guys in their weaponization of government. They're talking about it openly right now. Again, for the Media Matters goons and other people on the left who, love to rip this show, I'm going to play for you audio right now, video and audio, of representatives right now, Raskin and Stansbury on the Democrat side, openly talking about the 25th Amendment as a means to get rid of Trump. If that doesn't work, they're going to impeach him. Don't take my word for it. Listen to them. This is what's coming because they're telling you. Check this out.
The move would require a vote to pass in Congress. It could be a long shot, though, since Republicans control Congress. Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury joining 50 other Democrats to try and remove Trump from office.
But of course, going on these late night rants, he threatened last week to essentially commit war crimes against Iran. We saw him attack the Pope over the weekend.
Stansbury is a co-sponsor of a bill sponsored by Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin. They are looking to remove Trump using the 25th Amendment. The 10-page bill, if passed, would create a 17-member panel to assess if Trump is mentally or physically unable to do the duties of his office.
This is the receipt show, is it not? We should change the name to the receipt show. They're talking about it in news broadcasts. We're not making this up. Justin and I don't sit around and I go, can we make some shit up to scare the audience tomorrow? It's just them talking about it. Even if you're a Democrat and you're not crazed, is this really what you want? Say you do win in November. God forbid. I hope you don't. Calendar flips. You swear your people in. This is what you want to spend the final 2 years of the Trump administration on. If you're an 80-year-old plus Democrat who may just have 5-10 years of life left, you want to waste the next 2 years with another BS impeachment on Donald Trump on fabricated, bogus mental illness charges rather than actually fixing the country your grandkids live in, you schmuck? That's what you want to waste 2 years on? You've got to be kidding. Problem is, they're not. I told you, though, smile. It's still the greatest country on earth. We do have choices. And I'm telling you, with all of this revolution in computing power, quantum, AI, all of this stuff, we are looking at a tomorrow of unimaginable wealth. Or the Democrats' vision, which is the collapse of the republic, where they're openly talking about, quote, dismantling the United States? No, come on. Okay, stay tuned. I'll show you that too. Academia, it's where all this stuff comes from. There are some sick people in academia. Sick people, like sick with a capital S. This is what they want. They want the United States dismantled. They want our enemies and terrorists to win. And make no mistake, the biggest threat to global security, make no mistake, is the Islamo radicals. Make no mistake. Funded with Iranian blood money. Make no mistake. Quick break, and I'll show you what I mean. Again, facts incoming. Hey, when the dollar's convertibility into gold ended in 1971, gold was fixed at $35 an ounce. Remember those days? Fast forward to today. It's reported the U.S. dollar has lost over 85% of its purchasing power. That's a damn shame. Gold, on the other hand, which I am a big investor in, has increased in value by over 12,000%. I am a happy gold investor myself. That's why many central banks are buying gold at record levels and why major firms hold rather large positions in gold. Significant positions, but it starts with education. My friends at Birch Gold Group, BIRCH, I am a customer there, have just announced their Learn and Earn Precious Metals event. Learn and Earn. This free online event, it's free, rewards you for learning the basics of investing in precious metals. Sign up to get free silver on your next purchase, if you qualify. And you can get even larger incentives as you go. The more you learn, the more you can earn. It's worth your time, but you have to act now as a special event only runs through April 30th. The dollar lost its anchor in 1971. You don't have to lose yours. Text my name, Bongino, Bongino, to the number 989898 to join Birch Gold's Learn and Earn Precious Metals event by April 30th. It's real easy. Text Bongino, Bongino, to 989898 today. Learn and Earn Message and data rates apply. Thank you, Birch Gold. Check him out, BIRCH. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Folks, we have a choice. You want this? I grew up in New York City. I try not to make the show too regionally centric, whether it's I lived in Florida, Maryland, and New York. However, you have a choice. They just elected a communist up there who replaced another communist up there, and New York City has decayed into sheer badness. This is not the streets of a third world country you're going to look at in this video. Hat tip to the creator, Sweeney, with 3 E's, walking around New York City. Folks, if you go up to New York, you're going to see this everywhere. If we were to ice out the sound in the background, this looks like the third world. It is not. It is the streets of New York City where everybody sells whatever they want on the street, counterfeit stuff, harass you as you walk down the sidewalks, if you can even walk down the sidewalk. Check this out.
Look at it. Whole line of waiting kids. This covered in the street. Another one getting locked up. Stop sitting here and telling me we got to live like this. Thank you for your service. Look, we got more. They're trying to get it. Go ahead. Look at this. Don't tell me we got to live like this. This is a choice. This is an abandonment of standards. I'm talking to you. Look at all this shit. Thank you. Let me help you. Look at this shit. Look at this. 365 days a year. Broad daylight, rampant criminality. Look at this shit. Look at it. Whole line of waiting kids. This covered in the street. Another one getting locked up.
This is how you want to live?
Here and telling me we got to live like this. Thank you for your
we don't
service.
have to live like this. We don't. And thank you, Sweeney, for thanking the police officers for doing something about it. Now, of course, it's led by the city, New York City. The Big Apple is turning into the rotten apple yet again because it's led by a communist moron who doesn't know the first thing about economics. Here he is in an interview, by the way. And I love these guys who live this rich life thanks to our free markets and capitalism system. People like Mamdani, who comes from a pretty well-to-do family, by the way. I got an idea. Here it is from Mamdani. You listening? I know your people probably send you these clips because we're one of the most popular shows out there. So hey, I got an idea for you. Open your wallet, you phony, fake, fraud piece of... Open your wallet and just give all your money donated over to the government. You think government's a source of such benevolence in everybody's life and you want to take other people's shit? Give them your money. You won't, because none of your phony liberal communist friends do it either. Here he is saying, well, there shouldn't be any, billionaires out there. God forbid. God forbid we had billionaires who actually invented like software, the personal computer, rocket fuel, rocket ships, quantum, AI. If God forbid we had any of those billionaires out there, GPU chips. Listen to this dipshit. Check this out.
You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Of course, he ran on this as a candidate and still won. So here's my message to Mamdani and all the goons who voted this guy in New York or just want to steal the money out of your wallet after you worked to produce it. Not Mamdani, who I don't think's ever had a real job. Wasn't he like a rapper or something before? I did what I always do. I went to Google Gemini and their AI because I don't want to be accused of, right-wing bias or anything. And I said, hey, how many people actually give charitable donations to the government by paying higher taxes? I'm just saying, liberals, if you guys and ladies out there love the government so much, then give them your money. My wife and I give money to charity. We're not forced to do it because they do good things. I'm not asking you for a pat on the back. I don't really care. Here's Gemini's answer. I asked him, what about the gifts to reduce public debt, voluntary tax payments? Get a load of this. The annual amount in 2024 from all these benevolent liberals who want to steal your money, the program brought in $2.7 million. Oh, surely you mean billion. No, million, like with an M. Like Mo money, like give Mo money. 2.7 million. That's it? The monthly average in early 2025 of voluntary tax contributions is $120,000 per month. That's like one guy's salary at like a mid-range firm. That's it. That's the total history of the program. Since 1996. 3 decades. 3 decades. Surely all these benevolent commie liberals, wait, put it back in. I'm not done reading it yet. The total amount since 1996 is $67 million. That's it? Libs, open your wallets. You're generous with other people's money. Stop being fake, phony frauds. Do the right thing, brother, just like Spike Lee said. You love giving away other people's money. Give away yours. As a friend of mine used to say in Glendale, Queens, or get off the pot, bro. Donate your money. Mom, Dami, tell your parents. The gifts to the public, Dad, just give it away. Show us the receipts. We'll put it on the show. These people are full of shit. Folks, they hate you. You have a choice coming up in November. The Democrat Party is dominated right now by people who hate your guts. Do you understand that? The party has been hijacked by a bunch of pseudo-intellectual academic lunatics, AOC, Bernie Sanders. Give us your money, but we're not going to give any extra money to the government. Matter of fact, we'll do everything we can to avoid paying taxes, like these other goons on the left. While we continue to banter about how we want America dismantled. So this actually happened. I have 2 professors coming up, 2 short videos here. I want to show you who's teaching your kids right now and why the country's Democrat Party, this is not democratic, has been completely hijacked by lunatics. Folks, they're making Al Gore look like a Republican. Here's a University of Michigan professor. This is a choice coming up you have in November because this is an absolutely endemic on the left. Talking about how the United States needs to be dismantled. Surely they didn't say that. Okay, just listen to yourself. You don't have to listen to me. Check this out.
Having the moral authority as the original people of these lands to push back against the violent settler project that is the United States, and to help to lead that, to be the tip of the spear here of all liberation struggles and the movements that seek a world of justice, equality, and peace, that seek to dismantle the United States. I hope you seek to dismantle the United States. And if that isn't your politics, okay? I speak as if everybody has this commitment. And the thing is that you should listen to Indigenous people when they're telling you that this is the goal. And that not only is this the goal, but this is the starting point. Because I think Nick articulated this very clearly. Decolonization is the only thing that is going to save us.
You see the terror uniforms too and the terror flags in the background? If you're not watching, please watch. The video is exclusive to Rumble. You see the terror uniforms? Folks, listen, I just got to be candid with you. And I viscerally hate these people. I do. I'm sorry. I do. I hate them. I know that's a strong word. This is a woman, by the way, who would not last but 5 minutes in a Hamas death camp, even with the terror garb on. I wish no ill on them, obviously. I abhor any kind of political violence whatsoever. But I can't lie to you. And in my gut, wherever that mysterious place is we talk about, I just hate these people. Put up that Daily Mail article. This is who they're defending. Daily Mail, by the way, which isn't even like a right-leaning outlet. Women living under Hamas rule in Gaza described to the Daily Mail how they are sexually abused, i.e. raped, by the terror group's fighters and forced to have sex in return for food aid. I hate these people. Folks, listen to your friend here. Not that I needed an eye-opening over the last year, but the biggest and largest threat to your and your family's public safety is Islamo-radical nutbags like this in the terror garb. And this clown joker wouldn't last 5 minutes in a Hamas rape camp. You want to dismantle the United States? Oh, yeah, we know you do. We know you do, because you guys are all supporters of terrorists. Some of them just openly talk about it. Here is a Dr. Mohammed Abdu. Here he is on, these people say this stuff openly. You don't think you need to vote in November? You think you want to let these people hijack the Democrat Party? Look at what's going on in Michigan right now. These are people running, these lunatics, by the way, as like backing mainstream candidates. Quotes, air quotes. Here's Dr. Mohammed Abdu celebrating the murder of the Israeli embassy staffers. I was at the scene, folks. They knocked on my door late at night. Judge Janine had been on the job, I think, a day. I think that was the day she got hired as the United States Attorney in D.C. I just remember, going down. Obviously, they moved the police tape. We're sitting there. We're looking at the scene. Like everything, the blood and everything's still fresh on the sidewalk. Here's Dr. Mohammed Abdu here celebrating that. Tell me this isn't the biggest threat to you and your kids' public safety. Tell me so I can laugh in your face and call you a clown. Check this out.
Let us be a threat. Let us fulfill that threat. And you know what I mean? With all that it entails, with a full blunt force. Let us engage in jihad. And there are rules to jihad. And Muslims, you know that Allah has commanded us with rules. We don't engage in wanton violence, but we don't accept the negative peace either. Aaron Bushnell, that sibling that engaged in the assassination of 2 Zionists, God bless him. He took action. He took action. Elias, he took action. Let's take action. Not only that kind of action, just to be very clear, because there's also building. We need to destroy. We need to create alternatives.
Folks, this is the single greatest threat to the citizens of the United States. Matter of fact, citizens of the globe in civilized countries, your public safety and that of your kids. When we went in there, that place was a mess. I'm talking about the FBI. They had all kinds of their CTD, counterterrorism division, had all kinds of like strange, weird, politically oriented stuff like agave and all this other, like the greatest threat was white supremacists. Listen, any kind of racial supremacy is obviously going to be a problem. That's the greatest threat. I would ask questions all the time, like, what evidence do you have of that? I don't understand. Like, where'd you get that from? That sounds like a political statement, not a triaging of actual threats to your life. Folks, I'm telling you right now, the threat is worse than you know. And these assholes out there in Podcastistan, out there advocating for, free Palestine. Palestine does not exist. There's no Palestine. Advocating for this at the expense of civilized human beings who do everything they can to not kill innocents, while the other side does everything they can to deliberately kill innocents. If you're on the wrong side of this, I am genuinely sorry. You're really doing this at the expense of your own kids and grandkids. Look them in the face if you have a daughter like I do and tell them you'd rather them go visit a Hamas rape camp where they can get raped for food rather than exist in the United States, the freest country on earth. Go ahead. Look them in the face. Tell them how they should be murdering people in broad daylight in Washington, D.C. because, hey, we took action. You took action, all right. These people are an existential threat to your very existence. Please listen to what I'm telling you. I do have a dog in this fight. It's my kids. If we were to stop doing what we were doing and let these maniacs like this University of Michigan professor dismantle the United States, you'd see thousands of deaths a day by these lunatics who blow up and shoot up everything they get their hands on. Folks, you have no idea how much of this is stopped due to good quality investigative work that you don't even hear about. It's frightening when you're seeing it every day. You almost get like depressed over it because it's like whack-a-mole. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to get to, again, a story. I've been warning you all about the surveillance state as well, kind of taking the opposite side of this argument because I like to give you everything on this show. I want to make sure you understand both sides of the argument. It's very important for us to intercept these Islamo-radical fanatic lunatics because they will kill you and rape your kids in a second. However, we also have to be cautious and we have to be very careful about putting the wrong people in power, whether it's tomorrow, today through the Redistricting initiative in Virginia or through the midterm elections. Because surveillance technology is so powerful. I'm going to show you this tweet coming up next from someone about saliva droplets and DNA. Folks, you put the wrong people in charge who don't respect civil liberties and get that balance between security and civil liberties. And let me tell you something. This surveillance state future is going to be deeply, deeply troubling for all of us. You need the right people in charge. All right, today's show, that's all right. You guys get to it. Okay, thank you. I think I confused them with it. Sometimes I read the ads at different times, but that's all right. You know what I was looking for? I was looking for these guys to panic. Remember that thing when there was someone here, well, I lost it a little bit. And the golden rule of the show is you can never shit the bed. That was like the Secret Service line. Panic kills. Don't panic. Bond charge. You heard me do a segment on the various uses of red light therapy. I'm a huge fan. I cannot continue to survive without red light therapy. I have the worst osteoarthritis in my joints. The only thing that helps me is red light therapy. If you've ever seen me out in the street, I'm always walking funny with my left knee. The only thing that keeps me from a knee replacement tomorrow is my red light therapy devices. I go to Bond Charge. You know, Paul and I believe in it. She uses the product on for her face. That's why she looks so young. Look up the benefits. Do me a favor. It helps us a lot. Just look up the benefits of red light therapy. It is amazing what it does for your skin, what it does for inflammation. Bond Charge is a global leader in premium wellness innovation grounded in science and driven by purpose. They created solutions that fit easily into any lifestyle, which is why their products work for me. Paula loves the red light therapy mask. She uses it for about 15 minutes every day at night. I use it too. It helps me go to sleep at night. That red light is just really powerful. The red light face mask is lightweight, portable, contours perfectly to your face. Pick one up, take the mirror test. Just look before, take a little picture of yourself, give it like a month or so, and then look again. It's suitable for all skin types and supports a more youthful complexion, smoother skin texture, and more. That's why Paula looks like she's still in her 20s. That's why my knee still doesn't need to be replaced, despite a doctor telling me 2 years ago, you better replace that thing tomorrow, one of these days. If you're ready to feel better, go to bondcharge.com, use code Bongino to save 15% on your red light face mask. Again, that's bondcharge.com, BONCHARGE, bondcharge.com, use code Bongino to save 15% on your red light face mask. The blanket's amazing too. Highly recommended. Bondcharge.com. Use code Bongino. Check it out. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Statements of products have not been evaluated by the FDA. Not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Check it out. Bondcharge.com. Use code Bongino. You won't regret it. So, when I went in there, I was very worried about civil liberties. You saw some of the FISA abuses that happened there before, some of the surveillance abuses, and everybody's constantly coming into the Department of Justice and the FBI trying to sell you surveillance technology. Everything from no-touch malware to facial ID to all this stuff, DNA stuff. I saw this up on Twitter. It was an X post I saw the other day, and I just put it up there as kind of a warning to you about what is coming in the future. Technology is going to enable government representatives, law enforcement folks, and others to basically track every single thing you do and importantly, every single place you've been. So you better be damn careful who you vote for. I can tell you with certainty we did everything we can to put guardrails up around your civil liberties, including massive changes to FISA. Check this tweet out. This is some scary stuff because this is just right around the corner. So this tweet from or X post from Nico McCarty. You should check this out. Because every time you breathe, saliva droplets are released into the air. They contain DNA, which can be captured from air and sequenced in the next 24 hours. So-called air DNA is a relatively new way to do environmental monitoring. But he basically says going on that, hey, listen, I'm not a DNA scientist. I'm just telling you, like, folks, you leave traces of yourself both digitally and physical, microscopic, but still physical pieces of yourself everywhere. You get a government in charge that doesn't give a damn about your civil liberties. Good luck moving forward. I get a little worried about this stuff. I promise you, we did everything we could to put heavy-duty guardrails. But listen to me. People are policy. You vote wrong in November. This stuff can be changed when they get different people in charge. You can't just start another 3-letter agency and go dump this and replace it with another. You put bad people in charge. I don't care what you call it, the FBI, the IBF, the ABC, the DEF. It doesn't make a difference. You got to vote right. People are policy. Federalist 51, if men were angels, which they are not. Folks, I warned you too before. I'm giving you both sides of it. There is a security, civil liberties balance here. And you cannot trade one for the other, or as has been said, you will have neither. You will throw them both out. However, what's going on right now in Iran is a very big deal. Now, how bad does it have to be for the media coverage of this situation, for a Democrat pollster, I'll say it again, Mark Penn, to openly put this out there on his X account, saying like, hey man, listen, this is like Iran's schizophrenia. Iran's telling its people, and you got people like Chris Murphy cheering, Democrat senator from Connecticut, like cheering for the Iranian terror regime. Iran's depicting to his people as winning because they have to. Because Iranian hardliners want to maintain power, and those who lost kids to the regime want retribution. But Iran is not winning. They're surrounded by an armada. It's destroyed their leadership, its navy and nuclear facility that's had full reign in the air, losing one plane in 19,000 missions. The president did the impossible with Hamas and forced the release of all the hostages. Nobody thought that could happen. Now he has Iran in a vice. They likely have competing factions internally, with some wanting out and others wanting to double down. We may move to peace or another round of conflict. He goes on, this is what the blockade looks like right now. I'm going to move on in a second to the nothing is happening file. But I just want you to know that, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care. I know the pressure on X and elsewhere amongst the doomer, black pillars, and liberal media crowd is to be, oh my gosh, we're losing. We're getting our asses kicked. The Iranians are winning. We are not losing this. We are not losing this. And for those with the, forever war, we're not in a forever war. It's been a couple of months, and the Iranians have been engaged in a forever war. They've been killing our people forever and threatening us forever. What do you want to do? You want to just ignore it? And the doomer crowd, it's exhausting. With the constant, like, nothing is happening. Folks, it's at the point now where you have to ask a question I already know the answer to. The people telling you this, that nothing is happening as things continue to pile up and happen. Have you ever asked yourself, like, what do they have some kind of agenda? I already told you what their agenda is. The nothing is happening crowd are deathly afraid of this MAGA movement. They don't want the MAGA movement to run a candidate in 2028 on the Trump record. So they're trying to destroy President Trump's presidency from within. You see it in Podcastistan now. Did you see this body cam video from the Antifa prosecutions that were successful? I was there for this case. I thought no one was prosecuting Antifa. Nothing is happening. These were the first prosecutions of Antifa in DOJ history. This happened. Did you see the body cam that just came out from this? Again, for the doomers and pillars, no, nothing's happening. Check this out.
From the moment the first police officer arrives,
hey, stop!
It only takes seconds.
He's running! Get on the ground!
Before he's shot in the neck.
20, we have an officer that's been hit. Who's hit?
I am.
You good?
No, I'm hit.
He survived and recovered from what federal authorities call a terror attack outside a North Texas ICE detention center on the 4th of July.
Do not move, you will be shot!
You're seeing the shooting and its aftermath for the first time on video obtained by WFAA.
Don't move! Put your hands!
The feds charged more than a dozen people, calling them Antifa terrorists, in a first-of-its-kind case that led to a manhunt, then guilty pleas and convictions this spring.
Folks, we just had successful prosecutions of these Antifa members, quite a few of them. You have to ask yourself again, all these people who swore that nothing was happening, as these things happen and become public knowledge, why don't they go back and apologize? Because they want to destroy the Trump administration from inside. Now, let me tie this back to the beginning of the show because this is important. The attacks that continue on both Kash Patel and Pete Hegseth are not legitimate. They're bullshit, garbage attacks because they're trying to diminish what they know is happening. They know that the war effort right now is going very well by any objective measure. They also know that the DOJ efforts to clean up public corruption elsewhere are going to start to bear a lot of fruit. The justice process works very slowly in the United States. It's designed to run slowly. And they're trying to get out ahead of this stuff. Do you have the news report from that, or just was that just the body cam stuff? I wanted the news report too on that, if you can get it. When you see this stuff, learn to recognize the op. It is right in front of your face. And ask yourself why people would insist that these things aren't happening despite news reports now of these things happening. They continue to ignore them. I see people tweet this out every day. They are trying to devour the Trump administration from their own dinner table. Don't fall for it. This is a sucker's game. And I'm telling you to pay attention in the weeks and months as more of this stuff becomes public and starts to filter out. And watch what happens as the doomers double down. That's the thing about a lot of this Podcastistan crowd. They are absolutely immune to evidence. They ask you of evidence of things happening. You show them evidence and they just move on to the next thing. All right, forget it. All right, I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with some good news today. So, folks, my daughter plays volleyball. You love how we just go everywhere all the time. And one of the great, listen, I'm absolutely convinced that there is a higher power and a God. I think I believe in Jesus. I believe in you can believe in whoever you want. However, I see the sunsets and I see this natural beauty. I see my daughter smiling at me at a volleyball game when she, slides and, that makes an amazing play on the floor and looks at me for approval. And I'm telling you, explain that if there's not a God, that feeling you have, But the youth sports that we all played as a kid in Little League and elsewhere, that really taught us a sense of teamwork and discipline, like real things, not like hyperbolic BS. We're losing our kids out of that. I'm not telling you video games are evil or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a place for everything. However, it's a relatively solo act. Maybe you're connecting digitally, but you're not there reading people's emotions, doing something bigger than yourself. I have to strongly encourage you, if you have young kids or about to have kids or planning to have kids, that do whatever you can to get them into sport. Whether they turn out to be, Don Mattingly playing for the Yankees, or they just have a good time batting number 9 for their Little League team. Youth sports are important. I'm not one for parenting advice. However, I'm going to give it to you unsolicited here. Get them in a sports program as soon as you can. Here is a quick 1 minute from this commentator I saw on X about how youth sports, why it's collapsing. And I got to tell you, the travel team phenomenon, if you're really, really skilled and you think your kid is going to be the next Roger Clemens, great. However, for most kids, this has really priced a lot of parents out of the wonderful experience of having their kids in youth sports. Check this out.
American youth sports are in trouble. Only 55% of American kids are playing organized sports. The Aspen Institute wants that number up to 63% by 2030. And the reason kids are dropping out are a combination of rising costs, helicopter parents, and one uniquely American problem, the travel team industrial complex. The income gap is brutal. Kids from households earning under $25,000 play sports at half the rate of kids from households earning $100,000 or more. Youth sports have increasingly become pay-to-pay, with travel teams, private coaches, club dues, tournament fees, and matching gear bags that cost more than most families' actual vacations. You have to pay to play. Then there is the parental factor. A youth sports veteran with 40 years of coaching experience put it bluntly this week. Overbearing sports parents are not, for the most part, chasing college scholarships. They are driven by ego and fear of their child failing. The scholarship fantasy is the cover story. The real driver is that mom and dad want little Aiden to be the star of U12 travel soccer because it makes them feel better about their own lives, which little Aiden can feel, which is why little Aiden quits.
You know, I wrote a whole book called The Gift of Failure, how the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life were born out of some failure before that made me kind of get up, dust off, and readjust. One of the chapters in the book is when I was a kid playing Little League. It was RGMV, Ridgewood Glendale Middle Village. For those of you who grew up in Queens, you may remember RGMV Little League. They played over at Cedar Stadium. I don't know what the entry fee was. It was like $20. And then you used a used uniform someone had passed down that probably still had the sweat stains from the prior kid. They had those like netting hats that cost like, I don't know, $1 or so. And I don't even remember the team I played for back then. But you would get sponsored by local businesses. There was Schwilly Funeral Home. The other team was like Glendale Lumber. Do you remember this? Anybody grow up in Glendale, Queens? Folks, when I started in Little League when I was, 8 or 9 years old, I was really, really bad. And you know what made it worse? My brother, who was only a year behind me, I'm the oldest of 3. My brother, who was awesome. I forget who he played for. He played for, everyone let me say the Maroon Hats. My brother was like one of the best players in the league. So they'd always be like, man, his name's Jim. How's Jim so good and Dan so bad? And you know what? I struck out a lot. And we had a great coach, Jim Arseold. He was a great guy. I struck out a lot. And you know what? It sucked. And I wrote in a book, like one of the most painful days of my life when I was a kid, so much so I wrote a chapter about it in the book, is the coach says, hey, you want to try pitching? I got smoked. And the thing about pitching in baseball is when you're on the mound, everybody's staring at you. And I was there with my cousin, my older cousin, who I really looked up to, and I got smoked. I'm going to tell you something. Why am I telling you this story? Because it was such a great, wonderful, formative experience about learning how to not suck that I went out, bought a batting tee, some cheap used baseballs. I think someone lent me a baseball bat. I hung a blanket over my clothesline when we used to dry clothes outside over the back, and I hit off that batting tee until my hands bled. And I eventually made it to American Legion ball and Federation ball and wound up becoming the number 3 hitter for the team. And listen, was I some major leaguer? No. Was I the best player in the league? No, but I was pretty darn good because I got tired of sucking. It's true. Don't starve your kids of the experience of a little bit of failure. It's a gift. It really is. Let them dust off, get up, and learn how to overcome these obstacles. It's the best thing you can do for them. Don't be afraid if they're not going to be, the next Ernie Els if they're a golfer or something. Just get them in the youth sports. It is so important. I told you we'd be branching out into some different stuff. I've got some really good guests coming up for you, too, in some of these shows that are in different areas. I'm going to be bringing on some health educators. I don't want to call them influencers because I hate that name. I'm going to bring on a ton of different people to give you a different perspective on the show. We got a whole lot planned. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to tune in to Haley at noon, rumble.com/Haley. Vince every day at 8 a.m., rumble.com/Vince. I'm here every day, 10 a.m. live. Don't forget, go to rumble.com/Bongino. It is absolutely free. Click that follow button if you wouldn't mind. Also free. We have up to 3.64 million followers. We really appreciate it. And download the Rumble app. It's free. You can do the same thing. Just click that follow button there. I really appreciate you tuning in, folks, and the great audience today. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m.
I'm Haley Caradia,
host of Vince,
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report.
Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find a podcast. Thanks for watching.